Before we start, warning. Spoilers ahead. Today, I'm going to recap a 2014 Korean action thriller movie called A Hard Day. This movie tells us about Detective Ko Gun-soo, whose mother recently passed away. Just when he thinks he is having a bad day, things just get even worse. How much worse, you ask? Let's find out. The movie begins with a corrupt detective named Ko on the phone while driving away from his mother's funeral. His squad is telling him that the Internal Affairs Department is on the way to their office to conduct an investigation regarding bribery. As Ko continues to drive, he swerves his car to avoid a dog in the middle of the road. Then suddenly, he crashes onto something, leaving a crack on his front mirror. Shortly coming to his senses, Ko gets out of his car to check on the object. A dead body. As he confirms the body was dead, Ko notices a police car in the distance. He drags the dead body behind the nearby trash bin, hiding himself and the body until the police drive away. Once the coast is clear, Ko decides to stuff the body in his car's trunk. Ko continues to drive and stumbles upon a police investigation. Ko is stopped and the officer asks for identification. After negotiating with the officer, he notices the cracked front mirror. Ko is ready to flee the scene, but the officer gets in the way. Ko gets out of the car. The other officers join in and are going to investigate his trunk. Ko fights them, but is sprayed with tear gas and tasered, causing him to faint on the spot. The scene then cuts to Ko's squad, proven guilty by the IAD after breaking through Ko's locked desk. Bribery conducted by his squad from local businesses is proven. Choi, one of Ko's colleagues, texts Ko about it. Frustrated, Ko's phone gets another call from his sister, telling him to get back immediately as his mother is already being prepped. Ko finally arrives at the funeral building, taking a seat near his mother's shrine. A toy soldier crawls to his foot, and his daughter, Mina, appears. Shortly after, his squad arrives at the funeral, paying their respects to Ko's mother. The squad chats at the back of the building, leading to an argument between Ko and Choi. Chief breaks the argument, and Ko's sister calls for Ko, telling him that their mother is ready for the casket. With her body finally in the coffin, Ko's sister places a cross on her body and the coffin is shut. As the funeral director and Ko are hammering the nails, Ko's phone receives a few messages, saying that his car might be getting checked. Ko starts to panic, but notices a vent in the room. He has an idea. After getting some balloons, he goes to the other end of the vent, and throws Mina's toy soldier inside, tied to a rope. Ko goes back inside and asks the funeral director for some time with his mother. The funeral director accepts, saying that he may stay till midnight. After the funeral director walks out, Ko locks the door and uses the balloons to block the security camera. He uses the controls to make the toy soldier crawl towards his vent. However, the toy soldier makes some gun noises, which bothers the people nearby. The security comes to check, but the door is locked and the camera can't see inside. The funeral director is going to return to check on the room. Meanwhile, Ko pops off all of the coffin's nails and opens it once again, apologizing to his deceased mother for what he is about to do. As the toy soldier almost completes its journey, the controls stop working. Ko takes his sister's cross, dragging the toy towards him and starts pulling on the rope, which is carrying the dead body. Ko quickly places the body inside the coffin and nails it shut. Problem is, music starts playing from inside the coffin. The body's phone is receiving calls. Ko can only hope that the phone wouldn't ring when the funeral director is inside. And Ko's nightmare finally ends. The next day, Ko's family escorts the coffin to the mountains, where it is going to be buried. He breaks down crying, apologizing to his mother. Afterwards, Ko washes his car clean, and deliberately rams it onto the back of a police car, getting his car repaired completely afterwards to hide evidence of his previous hit and run. Back to the station, a demonstration of confiscated C4, a bomb, is shown to the police. Showing how powerful the bomb's explosion is, frightening the police and reporters. The squad returns to the office, where they are given more cases as punishment for their proven bribery. They got off easily this time because some help was given from their higher-ups. A tip on the case is also given, showing a mugshot and identity of a murderer, Lee Kwang-min. And to Ko's surprise, he is the man Ko has run over. The squad goes to a warehouse in the afternoon to investigate and finds Lee's ID card, proving that he lived there. Ko goes to the road and discovers that it was the same road he ran over Lee, with the tire mark still there. A police car stops and explains that they are investigating a hit-and-run incident a few days ago. The squad joins Ko and seems to recognize the officer, since he is on Lieutenant Park's unit, the police higher-up that helped the squad on the problem with the internal affairs. The officer tells them that he is going to check on the security camera on the road to determine who the culprit is. Chief orders Choi to help the officer on the case, while Ko is told to sit this one out. But Ko decides to join the two at the security room to see the footage. Choi is onto something, but can't make out the license plate of the car because of the poor quality. Thus, Ko is relieved, for now. The next day at the office, Ko receives calls from a mysterious man, reporting on the case of Lee Kwang-min. The man seems to know that Ko was the man behind the incident and is threatening Ko. Ko storms off the office and realizes that the caller is nearby as he hears similar background noises in the call. He notices a man in a black coat, getting into a taxi and driving off. Ko gets into his car and chases the taxi through the streets and traffic, eventually losing them in the heavy traffic at the red light. The man in a black coat walks into a building and eventually changes his clothes to a police outfit, and walks out of the police station after the wild goose chase. A short recap of what has happened is shown, interrupted by Choi banging on Ko's window, causing him to wake up from his nap. His colleagues have just returned from Mount Yangja, the mountain where Ko's mother and Lee were buried. They followed Lee's last cell phone location, but couldn't pinpoint the location. Shortly after, the mysterious man gives Ko another call, but this time Ko can determine that the man doesn't know where Lee was buried. Afterwards, the office receives calls once more and Ko insists on ignoring them. Moments later, a man in black coat barges into the office and goes straight for Ko, giving him a few smacks. The squad quickly breaks them up and the man apologizes. He thought that Ko was someone else. The squad then introduces the man to Ko. He is Lieutenant Park, the man who helped them out on the matter with the internal affairs. Ko can determine that Park was the mysterious caller. Park goes to the toilet, and Ko follows moments later. The two talked, and Park tells Ko to bring Lee's body to him. A fight breaks out between the two, with Ko delivering a few punches onto Park's stomach, but he was only pretending to be in pain. Park baits Ko to enter the stall, getting the upper hand. Park grabs Ko's head and shoves it into the toilet. After some struggle, Ko finally gives in, agreeing to bring Lee's body to Park. Ko digs up his mother's coffin, taking Lee out. He investigates Lee's body, trying to figure out why Park wants his body. He takes Lee's cell phone, and finds out that his chest had bullet holes, meaning that he was already dead before Ko hit him. Ko goes to Lee's house after charging the dead phone and looking for other clues. He finds a card saying Private Piggy Bank. Lee's phone rings and someone scolds Lee Kwang-min, only to realize that it isn't Lee on the phone. Ko gives his squad the number and receives information on Lee's associate. Meanwhile, Choi starts getting suspicious of Ko's car license plate. Ko tracks Lee's associate down, catching him after a good chase. He interrogates the man on what Park's connection to Lee was. Turns out, Park had been stealing confiscated drugs and using them on his bars. His customers were addicted to the drinks with drugs fused inside them. When Park struck a deal with the Yakuza, Lee managed to take off with the key to Park's safe, filled with his money and drugs. Ko also receives information that Lee always keeps anything important inside of his body, so Ko drives back to the mountain and finds the key. Suddenly, a flashlight shines on Ko. It is Choi. He can't believe what he is seeing. Choi cuffs Ko and takes him to his car. Ko accepts his fate and is ready to be turned in, but Choi decides otherwise. Just when Ko is ready to tell everything, Park calls in, telling Ko to get out of the car and move away to the road. Choi's car is crushed by a shipping container. Ko stands there in disbelief. He is furious at Park. He wants to call off the deal, but it turns out that Park is at Ko's house. Ko hurries back home. His sister tells Ko that Park dropped off a toy and said he'd be back. Ko tells his family he has booked a hotel for them, telling them to leave the house, with him joining later on. Ko goes to the police army to trade in new bullets, and that's when he spots something in the corner of his eye. A C4, the confiscated explosive. Ko places the C4 inside Lee's body and meets up with Park at the designated place. Handing over the body, Park checks his body for the key with a detector. But he doesn't know that what he detected was the C4. As Park is leaving with his car, the car explodes, drowning into the lake. Ko waits until the bubbles disappear to confirm that Park is dead, before going back home. Ko returns home and calls his family, saying that he's on his way. Just when he opens the front door, Park shows up, surviving the explosion. A fight between the two breaks out, with Park throwing and breaking Ko's picture frames and vases on him. Ko lays on the ground, looking at the bookshelf where he stored his revolver. Park shows his strength, lifting Ko's body and throwing him onto the bookshelf, the shelf falling onto Ko after. Park drags him out, and Ko kicks him, fighting back. He hides inside his room, locking and blocking the door with shelves. Park makes a hole and tries to open the door, but Ko ties his hand up and hangs it onto the door rack. Ko plans to shoot Park with the revolver, so he gets to the window, jumping to the living room window and enters it. However, Park manages to cut the tie, freeing his hand. The fight continues, Ko tackling Park to the bathroom and hitting his head onto the door frame. The two of them eventually lay on the floor, and Park notices the revolver. They both try to reach for the gun. Park manages to reach it first, but accidentally triggers the pistol and shoots himself dead. Ko finally comes clean to the police about what happened. They come to an agreement to cover this incident, and Ko decides to resign. Chief tells him he can delay his resignation and let him return. Ko finishes packing things up and leaves. Ko's family goes to their mother's grave one last time after the chaos, deciding that they will open a toast shop, just like what Ko's sister wanted. As they are leaving, Mina drops a lipstick in front of her grandmother's grave, which turns out to be the key to Park's safe. In the end, Ko decides to pay the private piggy bank a visit. Park's safe is opened, and the movie ends with Ko staring at the contents of the safe. 3 enormous piles of cash. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like and comment to help the channel out. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.